to proceed under Standing Order 54, which reads, where the electronic voting system is unavailable, that a roll call vote, Honourable Speaker, be conducted by the Secretary General to seek a vote from each member. Honourable Speaker, I raise this because I want to note in the House that yesterday the members of the opposition stated our opposition to the budget, but this was not recorded, Honourable Speaker, and it was translated as a unanimous decision to support the budget. However, we did raise our opposition, and this was not recorded, Honourable Speaker. We are seeking the House that the roll call vote for the motions today be recorded under Standing Order 54. That's what I'm seeking, Honourable Speaker, under subsection 2. Thank you.
Honourable members, the decision to have that voting system was taken earlier on when the budget schedule was being planned, and it was agreed to by all the members who were there, represented Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and the leaders of the other parties on the exact type of vote. Now, if you disagreed with the proceedings yesterday, you should have raised it then, and we could have corrected it. It's simple question. The voting system that was decided on will remain as is, and we will continue with that. But we will have a full debate on the issues that are being put on today's table. I hope I made myself clear on that. Honourable Attorney General, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, pursuant to the resolution of Parliament on Friday, 16 July 2021, I move that the following consequential bills be debated, voted upon, and be passed. 1. Customs Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 2. Customs Tariff Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 3. Value Added Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 4. Environment and Climate Adaptation Levy Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 5. Gambling Turnover Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 6. Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 7. Employment Regulations Budget Amendment Bill 2021. Employment Relations Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 8. Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 9. State Lands Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 10. Ethiopia Land Trust Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 11. Biosecurity Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 12. Fruit Export and Marketing Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 13. Medicinal Products Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 14. International Finance Organizations Budget Amendment Bill 2021. 15. Tax Administration Budget Amendment Bill 2021. And 16. Income Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to stand on the motion.
I now call upon the Honourable Attorney General and Minister for Economy, Civil Service and Communications to speak on his motion. You have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, sir, as part of the 2021-2022 budget, the government has introduced a number of fiscal reforms and policies. These reforms have been outlined as part of the budget address or otherwise set out in the budget estimates, supplements, or information packs, or are in general alignment with government's objective of improving efficiency within the system, ensuring that there is ease of doing business. And these, of course, have all been released through various policy announcements and in conformity with the budget announcement itself. As a result of the 2021-2022 budget reforms, the following 16 consequential bills are required, which I've just read out, and of course there are more which we'll discuss later on. In respect of the first bill, Mr. Speaker, sir, the Customs Budget Amendment Bill 2021 seeks to amend the Customs Act 1986 to address policy changes in the 2021-2022 budget. Mr. Speaker, sir, although there are quite a number of amendments in the bill, these changes are largely administrative and service-driven, and will have the overall effect of improving the services of the Fiji Revenue and Customs Services, its regulatory powers, and the timelines with which FRCS delivers its service. Overall, the bill paves the way for the following policy changes. 1. Introduces the licensing of freight forwarders to properly regulate them alongside customs, shipping, and airline agents. Allows ships to provide advance notification of arrival not less than 48 hours. Allows for the relodgement of claims for refund within 30 days of being notified of the decision. Introduces provisions for the services of service of documents by electronic means. Reduces the period of notice for notice of claim from 3 months to 14 days. Reduces the period for procedure after notice of claim from 2 months to 14 days. Introduces a penalty of $500 on persons that make payment of duty on checks that are dishonored. Makes directors personally liable for duty for companies that are in financial difficulties in line with the Tax Administration Act 2009. And introduces an offence provision for importers that do not maintain proper records as required under Section 114A of the Customs Act. Mr. Speaker, sir, in the interest of time, only focus on two key changes in the bill. Firstly, the bill paves the way for the regulation of freight forwarders by FRCS and introduces the definition of terms freight forwarder. Freight forwarders generally manage shipments and ensure that goods are delivered according to the instructions of the client. Pursuant to the changes in this bill, freight forwarders will now be regulated under the Customs Act like customs, airline, and shipping agents to ensure that they maintain professional and acceptable standards of service. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, sir, the bill includes provisions for the service of documents by electronic means. As part of business modernization and automation of processes, this allows FRCS to serve documents by electronic means to importers, including foreign nationals. Mr. Speaker, sir, I won't go into the specific clauses of the bill. The members would have an opportunity to read those. The next amendment, Mr. Speaker, sir, is Bill number 9, which is the Customs Tariff Budget Amendment Bill 2021. The Customs Tariff Budget Amendment Bill 2021, Mr. Speaker, sir, seeks to amend the Customs Tariff Act 1986 to address the following policy changes in the 2021-2022 budget. Reduction of fiscal duty on green tea from 5% to free. Reduction of fiscal duty on fruit juices that is not manufactured locally or that has no added sugar from 32% to 15%. Reduction of fiscal duty on Vegemite and the like from 32% to 5%. Reduction of fiscal duty on lead-acid batteries from 32% to 15% as a means of assisting public service vehicle operators such as buses and taxis, and even individual domestic users for cars. Reduction of fiscal duty on audiovisual equipment such as television cameras, digital cameras, video camera recorders, pocket-sized radio cassette players, and radio receivers from 5% to free. Reduction of fiscal duty on spare parts for electrical equipment from 5% to free. Increasing the fiscal and excise duty on non-woven bags from 5% to 32% and free to 10%, respectively, to provide protection for domestic suppliers. Extend concession code 124 to include cement, timber, wood, reinforcing bars, veneer plywood, nails, and or other locally manufactured goods which may not be available locally at a reduced rate of duty of 5% fiscal and free import excise. Given the current shortage of cement locally, these items can now be imported into Fiji at a concession rate of 5% for a period of 6 months from 1 August 2021 till 31 January 2022. Increase the fiscal duty under head 6305 from 5% to 32% to protect domestic suppliers of sacks and bags that fall under that heading. Increase the allowance for accompanied luggage from 1,000 Fijian dollars to 2,000 Fijian dollars for bona fide passengers embarking in Fiji. Introduction of additional allowance for unaccompanied luggage at a value not exceeding $2,000 for bona fide passengers disembarking in Fiji. 12, introduction of crew allowance for flight crew members of international commercial scheduled flights. 13, increase in the age limit for used and reconditioned petrol and diesel vehicles from 2 years to 5 years from the year of manufacture under concession code 287 to ensure accessibility to more recent and quality models of public service vehicles. 14, provide hotels and resorts that have been granted duty concessions under concession code 235 for renovations and refurbishments a further reduced rate of free fiscal and free import excise from 1 August 2021 to 31 December 2022. And 15, reduction of fiscal duty on dairy products such as powdered milk, liquid milk, butter, yogurt, and cheese from 32% to 5% with effect from 31 August 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill that I would like to very briefly introduce is the Value Added Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Value Added Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021 seeks to amend the Value Added Tax Act 991 to address budgetary policy changes or announcements made in the 2021-2022 budget, Mr. Speaker, sir. For example, this in particular looks at things like parametric insurance, which will be exempted from VAT, which we intend to introduce very soon under a pilot program. This will give people a lot of comfort in respect of accessing insurance, in particular for during cyclones, etc. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill is the Environment and Climate Adaptation Budget Amendment Bill 2021. The Environment and Climate Adaptation Budget Amendment Bill 2021, Mr. Speaker, sir, seeks to amend the Environment and Climate Adaptation Act 2015 to achieve the following two policy objectives. Firstly, to enable FRCS to process refunds for persons who have paid ECAL erroneously or inadvertently, and two, to provide exemptions from the payment of ECAL for specific goods listed in Schedule 2 of the Act. These exemptions are for personal imports, goods imported by traveling passengers and crew, and unaccompanied luggage, and goods imported for hotels and resorts. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill, which is Bill number 12, Gambling Turnover Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021. The Gambling Turnover Tax Act 1991, Mr. Speaker, sir, levies gambling turnover tax at the rate specified in Schedule 2 in the GTT Act on the value of any consideration paid or payable by a person in respect of the provision to that person of a gambling service. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Gambling Turnover Tax Budget Amendment Bill 2021 seeks to amend the GTT Act to prescribe the rate of gambling turnover tax as 15%. The Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Bill 2021, Mr. Speaker, sir. As we recall, Mr. Speaker, sir, Parliament passed the Fiji National Provident Fund COVID-19 Response Amendment Act 2020 during the COVID-19 response budget last year. That COVID-19 response amendment made changes to the Fiji National Provident Fund Act and reduced the rates of mandated contributions by employers and employees from 10% and 8% respectively to 5% each. The reduced rates were initially effective from 1 April 2020 to 31 December 2020. However, the Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Act 2020 further amended the FNPF Act and extended the period for the reduced rates to 31 December 2021. This Fiji National Provident Fund Budget Amendment Bill 2021, Mr. Speaker, sir, seeks to amend the FNPF Act to increase the rates of mandated contributions by the employers and employees from 5% each to 6% with effect from 1 January 2022 to 31 December 2022. Mr. Speaker, sir, more than 1 year now, members of FNPF accounts have received contributions at a lower rate. With this 1% reversal for employers and employees, a total of around $60 million per year is expected to be credited to members' FNPF accounts. The bill also seeks to amend the FNPF Act to redefine the term entitlement event to include any age that is below the prescribed age subject to prescribed conditions. Mr. Speaker, said the amendment would allow FNPF members between the ages of 50 and 55 years who have a balance of up to $10,000 and who have also been unemployed for at least 12 months to withdraw funds from their FNPF accounts. This will provide some form of financial support to around 9,593 FNPF members and hopefully also enable them to make appropriate decisions regarding their livelihood, for example, whether they want to set up small businesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Employment Relations Budget Amendment Bill 2021, which is Bill number 14. In 2020, Mr. Speaker, sir, Parliament enacted amendments to the Employment Relations Act 2007 to reduce the entitlements for family care leave and paternity leave from 5 days to 2 days during the COVID-19 period. These were measures taken to help businesses and employers cope with the COVID-19 pandemic. However, given the current outbreak and the continued effect of COVID-19, it has become prudent to reduce these entitlements while increasing employee and employer contributions from 5% to 6% to the National Provident Fund. In fact, all employers said that they didn't want it to increase to 6%, but this essentially, we've increased it to 6%. However, we've reduced the family care leave and the paternity leave by 1 day. This, of course, Mr. Speaker, sir, has met with satisfaction from the employers too, because at this point in time, the issue was cash flow, and the fact that we will have these reduced by 1 day to give some level of comfort and solace to the employers, and will not see any reductions in employment, but hopefully also see increase in employment numbers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill, Bill 15 of 2021, Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Budget Amendment Bill. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Budget Amendment Bill 2021 seeks to amend the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Act 2014. Under the Act, the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Board functions include the processing of applications made for schemes under the Act and assessment of continuing scholarship holders. The Act also provides the Board with such powers necessary for the performance of its functions under the Act. Section 14 of the Act establishes the Secretariat, which comprises the CEO and other staff as the Board deems necessary, but does not provide for the specific functions of the Secretariat in relation to the Board in the Act. The bill therefore seeks to amend the Act to allow the Board to delegate its functions and powers of the Board to the Secretariat, to enable the Secretariat to assist the Board in the administration of the provision of the Act. The bill also makes adjustments to the eligible institutions and available scholarship and tertiary education loan schemes under the Act. Furthermore, given the broad range of functions of the Board under the Act, the bill also seeks to amend the Act to reflect a service approach by the Board. The bill therefore changes all references from the Tertiary Scholarship and Loans Board to the Tertiary Scholarships and Loans Service. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill, Bill number 16, the State Lands Budget Amendment Bill 2021, is essentially a replica of the next bill, which is Bill number 17. Mr. Speaker, sir, the State Lands Act in 1945 provides for the administration of state land in Fiji. Section 13 of the State Lands Act states that it is unlawful for lessee under protected lease to alienate or deal with the land comprising the protected lease, whether by sale, transfer, or sublease, or in any other manner without the written consent of the Director of Lands. The written consent of the Director of Lands is also required for any mortgage, charge, or pledge on the protected lease, or for any protected lease to be dealt with by any court of law or under the process of any court of law, or for the Registrar of Titles to register any caveat affecting the protected lease. Mr. Speaker, sir, to obtain the written consent of the Director of Lands takes any time between days to months, and on certain occasions even more than a year. There's a huge backlog of applications which have not been dealt with to date, and we receive frequent complaints from members of the public on these delays of the Department of Lands, which is simply unacceptable. The State Lands Budget Amendment Bill 2021, Mr. Speaker, sir, seeks to amend the State Lands Act to remove the requirement of obtaining the written consent of the Director of Lands for any mortgage, charge, pledge, or caveat on a protected lease, or what we call a registered lease, for any such lease to be dealt with by any court of law or under the process of any court of law. This will ensure faster service delivery to lessees, and third parties will no longer need to obtain the consent of the Director of Lands for certain applications, and they can directly register instruments with the Registrar of Titles or lodge proceedings in court. Consent, however, Mr. Speaker, sir, as with the next bill, is still required for dealings such as sale, transfer, subleasing, assignment, subletting, building, rezoning, and so forth. However, with these amendments, Mr. Speaker, sir, consent can only be refused where there is a breach of any lease condition and the application is not in accordance with the law. Mr. Speaker, sir, the next bill, which is Bill number 17, the Ethiopia Lands Trust Budget Amendment Bill 2021. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ethiopia Land Trust Act 1940 provides for the administration